The Boston Celtics beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 120-117, which means they defeated the Cavs win streak. They are now 15-1, and the Boston Celtics are back on track to take over the Eastern Conference. So if you guys are excited, go on ahead and spam your shams. I want to talk about a topic that really hasn't crossed my mind until I saw how dominant Al Horford still is at 38 years old. Should the Boston Celtics extend Al Horford? As you guys know, the 38-year-old Dominican father of 5 is still pushing. He has no sights to retire just yet, which is what he said after they won the championship last year. But now that he's just been absolutely dominant against some of the league superstars, a.k.a. Darius Garland last night, holding him to 3 for 21 from the field, we have to really start to think if we want to keep Al Horford around. He's the only person in the Boston Celtics starting 5 unit that is not going to be with the team next year per his contract. This year, he's making just shy of $10 million, and then next year will be an unrestricted free agent. In my opinion, I think if the Boston Celtics don't extend him or offer him another contract of some sort, he will retire. I think that Al Horford wants to retire a Boston Celtic. This is kind of where he's made a name for himself, despite all of his years in Atlanta. But you never know. Somebody could be out there and want to offer him a big chunk of change before he's set to retire. So Boston can actually sign Horford to an extension starting next month in December. And I think this is now when we really need to start thinking and maybe even internally talking to Horford, being like, where are you at in terms of retirement? Because that's the only thing, in my opinion, that's keeping him from signing a contract, is whether or not he wants to hang it up and spend time with his 5 kids. Because the way that he's playing right now is showing me the complete opposite. He's showing me he wants to keep competing. He's showing me that he is still a dominant 5 in the NBA, which is now run by a very vast majority of young players. Horford's getting better with age. When you look at what he's done through the first 13 games here, these are up there with some of his career-high numbers, averaging 10.2 points per game, 5.5 rebounds per game. He's averaging almost about a block per game, 52% from the field, and 48% from the three-point line, especially last night going up against the Cavs, which he did drop over 20 points in a must-win game in the NBA Cup. So he's showing up for clutch moments. He's playing more minutes than I thought he was going to play, not to mention more games than I thought he was going to play. I thought Joe Mazzulla was really going to lean on Luke Cornett and Neemias Queta because Al Horford typically doesn't play back-to-back. But Horford is also still just breaking records, so there really is no reason to bench him. Al became the oldest player in NBA history to have more than 20 points, 4 3-pointers made, and 3 blocks in a game on Saturday against the Raptors. I know it's a very Tuesday morning baseball stat, if you will, but then the next game, he drops 18 points against the undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers. You can't tell me that you do not need Al Horford next season. I just think it's completely blasphemy. And then you have Jason Tatum over here pretty much saying that Al Horford's the heart and soul of this basketball team. He's a calming presence out there. He just does so many different things for us. Sometimes they show up in the stat sheet and sometimes they don't. But just him being on the court with us helps our spacing, helps with our defense. He's such a good passer, a willing passer. We're just a much better team when Al is out there being aggressive. We've seen that. Al Horford is almost always wide open in the corner for 3 because nobody's going to expect Horford to take a 3 while Jason Tatum's driving to the rack, but he has a no-look pass, and next thing you know, Horford's got 3 on the board. He also really helps in the offensive rebounding category. He helps when it comes to defending guards like Darius Garland around the perimeter. The only thing keeping Horford from signing an extension is his age. 38 years old is not something to mess with. Not all of us can be LeBron James or Tom Brady. But the way that Horford's playing, if he keeps playing this way and stays healthy, I don't see why he wouldn't want to come back for at least another year extension. Or maybe even you can get him for a vet minimum if he just wants to keep playing with the Boston Celtics. So we're going to have to figure out if extension is really even worth it for Al Horford, or how long you can extend him, or how much you can extend him for, knowing that the salary is not really anything the Boston Celtics can really mess with right now, being so well over that luxury tax line. All right, we're going to hop into something else here in the back half of the show, but I just want to ask you guys one question here. Will Al Horford retire after this season? I hate saying those words, but somebody's got to address it. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know in the comment section down below. Let's talk about the other center on the Boston Celtics depth chart, Kristaps Porzingis. We have a major injury update on how he's progressing in his rehab and how he could be back sooner rather than later. You guys want to stick around for that. All right, let me tell you guys about our sponsor here on Celtics Today. It is PrizePicks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app in America. I'm playing PrizePicks. Producer Rolly's playing PrizePicks, and so is everybody here at Chat Sports. If you guys want to join 10 million active users, it's super easy to do so. Download the PrizePicks app, and when you get there, you just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Not to mention, they put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes, and let me tell you, my picks hit. I have won over 45 entries playing this app. I have won over $1,000 playing this app, and my winnings just keep rolling in. I actually probably play this more than I should, but it's just so fun. And right now, I've got a nice little crossover season picks. I've got Steph Curry, which they just handed me a random discount on this Wednesday. They said the chef is cooking, so here's a discount. I'm going to have more than 21.5 points for Steph Curry, more than 18 points, rebounds, and assists for Brook Lopez, and then I'm going to have Drake May to have more than 215 passing yards on Sunday's game. If you guys want to copy mine, feel free. If you want to make your own, even better. Just download the PrizePicks app. Use promo code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the PrizePicks app. Use promo code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. Last week, the Boston Celtics announced that Kristaps Porzingis was going to move to the Maine Celtics to start scrimmaging with the players down there, along with Xavier Tillman, because Tillman just wanted to get more reps in. Tillman loves playing 5-on-5. He's a hooper. So he's like, all right, I'll go down there with Porzingis and give him a little bit of the works. But Porzingis has been in Maine over the weekend, and now reports are showing that the practice with the Maine Celtics and the scrimmages that they had went really, really well, which is great news to hear from Porzingis, who's been dealing with the rarest leg injury in the world. He had surgery back in June, and now this seems to be the last phase for Porzingis before he can return to a Boston Celtics uniform. Bobby Manning coming out here saying that multiple people who saw Porzingis' main scrimmage on Monday were impressed by his performance. It could be a signal to return sooner rather than later. And then after the Cleveland Cavaliers game, a lot of people did ask Joe Mazzulla, Joe, were you one of those people that saw Porzingis scrimmaging? He said, I only watched a little bit of it, but he came out of it okay. So we'll just continue to ramp it up and get better and better and better. And the beautiful part about Porzingis is that he has Al Horford. He's got that veteran to hold it down while Porzingis is rehabbing. We're okay without Porzingis right now. And then Xavier Tillman also gave his report, because he's a guy that's actually been scrimmaging against Porzingis, and he said, don't expect KP to come back in here and drop 35 points. I don't think we're going to get that Game 4 of the NBA Finals where Porzingis came out and just annihilated the Mavs in the first quarter by himself. But he did say he's going to get settled, he's got to get comfortable again, but he looked great. So once again, KP not to the 110% that we're used to with him, but I'll take he looked great over there are setbacks in his recovery. That's the worst thing you possibly want to hear. And overall, this is just really great news for Boston Celtics fans. I was watching the game last night, watching in my watch party. We were up by 3, and I'm thinking, we're beating the Cavaliers, who have beaten 15 teams in the NBA so far, and we're doing it without Porzingis. We're only going to get better when KP comes back. And so far, what he's been doing in his workouts, in his scrimmages and practices is showing us that he is ramping up to be the same player that he was. He's been participating in shoot-arounds, not just in Maine, but also in pregame warm-ups with the Celtics ahead of their games. He's been working on his coast-to-coast movements. A lot of times, you're going to see him doing shuttle runs between half-court, baseline to baseline, and so forth. He's been dunking, which is a huge step for a guy that's struggling with a lower leg injury. And then he's been getting back to his 3-level scoring, the 3-point scoring, the mid-range, the elbow, the free throws, the dunking, the layups. All of it's there to make sure he's going to be ready to go. However, When he got his surgery in June, they did announce that this would be a 4 to 6 month recovery, more so leaning on that 6 month back end side. Well, he got his surgery successfully on June 27th, which means his 6 month mark is December 27th. So we're still about a month away from Porzingis actually clearing that mark. And I don't think he should come back any earlier than that. That's just my opinion because I think we're okay right now. But if he does come back earlier than that, I'm not going to be mad about it. Obviously, I want to see Porzingis play as much as the next person. But I also love watching Horford. I love the minutes Neemias Queta's gotten, Luke Cornett, Jordan Walsh. And we're still A-okay in second place in the pretty shitty Eastern Conference right now. So I think you don't need him back right away. But the scrimmaging sounds really promising that there is a sliver of hope that he could come back sooner rather than later. If you guys want to give Kristaps Porzingis some love, which I know all you guys do, go on ahead and put your 8s in the comment section down below. It looks like our unicorn may be arriving very shortly. And as always, if anything happens with KP or Horford, I'll have it right here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports, so subscribe.